AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her fiancé's behavior toward my daughter. I, 38F, have always been close to my family, especially my younger sister, 32F. Growing up, we had our typical sibling fights, but nothing serious enough to create distance between us. My daughter, Lily, is 10 and she adores my sister. In fact, my sister has always been a big part of Lily's life since she was born, helping babysit and attending school events. That's why this whole situation has been heartbreaking for me. My sister got engaged about a year ago to a man named Mark, 35M. At first, I was happy for her. Mark seemed charming and kind during the few family gatherings we had. However, as the months went by and my sister started planning the wedding, things with Mark began to reveal a different side. Mark has a very controlling and condescending attitude, especially around my daughter. At first, it was subtle. He'd make jokes about how kids should be quieter or sit still more. I brushed it off, assuming maybe he was just awkward around kids. But then things escalated. During a family dinner at my sister's house about 6 months ago, Lily was excitedly telling a story about her school project. Mark interrupted her mid-sentence and told her to stop babbling because it was boring. Everyone at the table looked uncomfortable, but no one said anything. I immediately pulled Lily aside afterward and apologized for Mark's rude behavior and reassured her she could always speak her mind around me. Over time, Mark's behavior toward Lily got worse. He would roll his eyes when she talked, sigh loudly when she asked questions, and even once told her she was too sensitive when she got upset after he scolded her for coloring outside the lines in a drawing. This wasn't just directed at Lily, either. He was dismissive of other kids in the family and made frequent passive-aggressive comments about parenting styles, particularly mine. I tried talking to my sister about it, hoping she'd understand my concerns. I told her that Mark's behavior toward Lily was unacceptable and that it was affecting my daughter emotionally. My sister brushed it off, saying Mark was just tough on kids and that Lily needed to learn some discipline. She said I was overreacting and that I should just let it go for the sake of family harmony. I tried to respect her wishes, but things came to a head last month during a weekend visit. Mark got into an argument with Lily over her bedtime. She wanted to stay up a little later because she was excited about a school event the next day, and Mark snapped at her in front of everyone, calling her whiny and immature. I was furious. I pulled him aside and told him he needed to watch how he talked to my daughter. He responded by telling me I was too soft and that I was spoiling her by defending her so much. At that point, I decided I couldn't keep quiet anymore. I told my sister that unless Mark apologized to Lily and promised to treat her with respect, I wouldn't bring Lily around him or attend the wedding. My sister reacted with anger and said I was trying to sabotage her relationship. She accused me of being jealous and controlling and said if I was going to make a problem, then maybe I shouldn't be involved in her life so much. I felt blindsided. My sister, who I've always been close to, was basically telling me I had to choose between her and my daughter. I refused to back down. I told her my priority was Lily's emotional well-being, and I wouldn't expose her to someone who treated her poorly. The wedding is in a few weeks now, and I've told my sister I won't attend. She's upset and has stopped talking to me. Some family members have tried to mediate, saying I'm being unreasonable and that Mark isn't that bad. But honestly, I can't pretend everything is fine when it's not. Lily has been happier since we stopped visiting my sister's house, and I don't want to risk damaging her self-esteem by forcing interactions with Mark. So, Reddit, am I the asshole for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her fiancé's behavior toward my daughter? Or should I just suck it up and go for the sake of family peace? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to pay for my sister's wedding after she asked me to cover half the cost, even though she was the one who wanted a big, expensive ceremony. This has been a massive family drama for the past few months, and honestly, I still feel conflicted but mostly justified in my decision. I need an outside perspective because my family is divided and I'm starting to wonder if I really am the jerk here. A little background. I, 32F, have a younger sister, Emily, 28F. Growing up, we were close, but also very different. I'm pretty low-key, live a modest life, and have always prioritized financial responsibility. Emily is more of a dreamer, loves big gestures, and has always been drawn to extravagant things. Our parents passed away a few years ago, so the two of us have been the closest family we have. Emily got engaged about a year ago to a guy she's been dating for a couple of years. When they first got engaged, I asked about wedding plans and honestly thought it would be something small or medium-sized. I was happy to help where I could, but I had no idea it would turn into the kind of ordeal it has. A few months ago, Emily called me and told me she and her fiancé wanted a huge wedding, like the kind you see in movies or on social media. They wanted a fancy venue, catering for over 200 people, expensive flowers, a live band, the works. She also said the whole thing would cost upwards of $70,000. At first, I was stunned. That's an insane amount of money, especially considering how little I make compared to that. I asked her how they planned to pay for it, and she said they could cover some, but would need help, especially for me. She asked if I could contribute half of the wedding expenses because I'm the closest family member, and she said it was really important to her. I was shocked. Half of $70,000? That's $35,000. I don't have that kind of cash lying around, and even if I did, it's an enormous financial burden to ask of a sibling. I tried to explain this to her gently, saying I'm happy to help with some things here and there, but can't afford to pay half of such a massive wedding. She didn't take that well and got upset, accusing me of not supporting her dreams or being selfish. The conversation devolved quickly. She kept insisting that since I don't have kids or a spouse, I have fewer responsibilities and therefore could help more. I told her that was unfair and dismissive of the financial realities I face: student loans, rent, and just day-to-day living costs that don't vanish because I'm single. At this point, I started to realize she was treating me more like a bank than a sister. I offered to help in non-financial ways. I could help with planning, make invitations, even help with decorations. But when I refused to write a blank check, she grew distant. Things came to a head when she sent me a formal budget breakdown document with a $35,000 line highlighted and a note that said, "Please confirm your contribution by the end of the month." I was shocked by the tone and the way she framed it like a business deal. I told her I couldn't commit to that and reiterated what I'd said before. She responded by cutting me out of the wedding planning completely and told me she wouldn't invite me if I didn't pay. That was the moment I drew the line. I told her that I won't pay half of her wedding, and if she chooses not to invite me because of that, then that's on her. I don't think it's right to demand such a huge sum from a sibling who is not financially equipped. Now, the rest of my family is taking sides. Some say Emily is being unreasonable and manipulative. Others say I'm being unsupportive and should do more for my sister on her special day. A few relatives even say that since our parents are gone, I should step up to make this wedding happen for her sake. I feel like I'm in a no-win situation. I want to support Emily in ways that I can, but I also don't want to ruin my own financial health or be guilt into paying for something I can't afford or agree with. So Reddit, AITA for refusing to pay half of my sister's extravagant wedding when she demanded it from me and even threatened not to invite me? Or should I have just found a way to pay up to keep the peace and family together? AITA for refusing to let my sister's boyfriend stay in my house after he wrecked my car, then acted like it was no big deal? I, 29F, have always been close with my younger sister, Mia, 26F. We grew up in a small town, and even though we live in different cities now, we try to visit each other regularly and stay involved in each other's lives. Mia has been in a relationship with her boyfriend, Jake, 30M, for about a year now. From the start, I was a little wary of him. Not because he was a bad person exactly, but he always seemed a bit entitled and didn't really put much effort into building a relationship with me. Mia, on the other hand, was smitten and insisted he was a good guy who just needed time. I don't usually let partners stay at my place because I'm pretty private and like my space, but a few months ago, Mia and Jake ended up needing somewhere to crash for a weekend when their Airbnb plans fell through during a trip to my city. I reluctantly agreed to let them stay on the couch. warning them it was a one-time thing. They stayed 2 nights, and everything was fine. Fast forward to last weekend. Mia called me a few days before saying that Jake was coming to my city for a work conference, and since his hotel reservation got canceled, could he stay at my place for a couple of nights? Mia said it was a last-minute thing and that Jake promised to be respectful and not cause any trouble. I hesitated because I don't really like having guests, but I figured it was just a couple of nights and I didn't want to upset my sister. So I said yes, under the condition that Jake would be responsible for himself, not throw parties, and definitely not touch my car. I own a mid-range sedan that I take care of meticulously, and it's my main mode of transportation. Jake arrived on a Friday evening. He was polite enough, but already acting like he owned the place, walking around with his shoes on despite me asking him to take them off. I ignored that because I didn't want to start a fight on day one. Saturday morning, I left early for work. Jake said he would be out most of the day attending his conference and that Mia was coming to pick him up in the afternoon. When I got home that evening, I immediately noticed something was off. My car was parked awkwardly in the driveway, and the front bumper had a noticeable dent with some scratches and paint chipped off. I was stunned and furious. I called Mia to ask if she knew what happened, and she said she didn't, but she would ask Jake. Jake came over shortly after, and I confronted him. He shrugged and said, "Yeah." I backed into a pole of the parking garage. "It's not a big deal. It happens. We could just get it fixed later." I was so shocked that he was treating this like it was no big deal. This wasn't a rental car or something disposable. It was mine, and I've been saving up for years to buy it. I told him it was a big deal and that I expected him to be more responsible. I also said I didn't feel comfortable having him stay here anymore. Mia called me furious, saying I was being unreasonable and that Jake had apologized and would pay for the repairs. She accused me of overreacting and said I was embarrassing her in front of her boyfriend. I stood my ground and told them both that Jake had to leave immediately. Mia refused to come pick him up and said I should drive Jake back to his hotel. I explained that my car was damaged and unsafe to drive, so that wasn't an option. Mia then accused me of being selfish and not supporting her relationship. She said if I cared about her, I'd let Jake stay until his conference was over, which was still 2 more nights. I stuck to my decision. Jake left that night after Mia arranged a ride from a coworker. The next day, Mia sent me several angry texts, calling me difficult, petty, and the worst sister ever. She also said she's reconsidering our relationship if I can't be more understanding. Since then, I've been feeling torn. On one hand, I think Jake was careless and disrespectful, and I have every right to protect my property and space. On the other hand, I feel guilty for causing a rift with my sister over what seems like a simple accident. I did offer to let Jake stay only if he respected my rules, and he broke them and damaged my car. I don't think I'm wrong for kicking him out, but my sister's reaction has made me doubt myself. So, Reddit, am I the asshole for refusing to let my sister's boyfriend stay after he wrecked my car and then acted like it was no big deal? Should I have been more forgiving and try to make peace for the sake of my relationship with Mia? Or was I justified in standing my ground?